I'm Youngyo Kim, and welcome to Korea Report, where we cover Korea's culture, business, and technology. Today on the show, we have a special coverage on Korea's emerging role in foreign aid, also known as official development assistance. And these are the stories we have for you in this edition. Once an aid recipient, now a donor. Boosted by the miracle on the Han River, Korea became the first former donor state to join OECD's Development Assistance Committee. Small but strong, Korea is carving out a niche in the global race for official development assistance. Youngmo Kim, the president of Korea International Cooperation Agency, will talk about all this. Mobile clinics reaching people in remote villages in the Andes Mountains. Creativity gives a new life to the conventional form of international aid. In year 2000, United Nations member states committed themselves to the Millennium Development Goals, which include halving global poverty by 2015. And now that we have reached the year 2015, we'll take a look at Korea's efforts to promote a common prosperity in the world. It'll take at least 100 years for this country to recover from the war. U.S. General Douglas MacArthur said when the guns fell silent in the summer of 1953. The Korean War's devastation left much of South Korea in ruins. The first president of the newly formed Republic of Korea, Lee Seung-man, even sent U.S. President Eisenhower a letter to ask about financial aid. Back then, foreign aid from rich countries was the only means of survival for the country that was struggling to rise from the ashes. In the 50 years after 1945, Korea received more than $12 billion in international aid, which served as a seed for the extraordinary development of the once poverty-stricken country. In 1969, when the Korean government began the push for industrialization, it amounted 80 billion Korean won, accounting for a quarter of the government's annual budget. A half-century later, Korea is now the 8th largest trading nation. Some call this the miracle on the Han River. Without foreign aid, rapid economic growth was never achievable.
Korea, that used to be one of the largest recipients of foreign assistance, now became the 13th or 14th largest economy, as well as donor country.
Korea's graduation from the World Bank lending list in 1995 marked the end of Korea's history as a recipient country. Finally, Korea could pay back on assistance it received from the international community.
As a model of development and aid success, we have to pay back our debt to the world as an international donor. By fulfilling our obligations as a donor country, we can even sustain our strong economy.
Official Development Assistance, or ODA, refers to resource flows to developing countries provided by central and local governments of a donor country or other public international agencies. Financial and technical assistance are aimed at promoting economic and social progress of developing countries. In late 1980s, Korea accelerated its development assistance to meet responsibility corresponding to its expanded economic capacity and higher status in the international community. In 1991, Korea International Cooperation Agency, or KOICA, was founded as a government agency and started providing full-scale assistance for developing countries.
KOICA was founded in 1991, and 1991 means a lot in Korea's history because we joined the United Nations as a full member that year. It meant the starting point where we began making contributions for the prosperity of the international community.
The beginning was humble. Only 44 ODA volunteers were sent to Nepal, Sri Lanka, Indonesia, and the Philippines, and these countries received only a small amount of financial aid. However, as the donor that has an experience of overcoming poverty, Korea knew what they really need.
Similar to other developing and the poorest countries, Korea had also suffered from colonization, wartime devastation both inside and outside the borders, followed by extreme poverty and hunger, as well as the separation of families. This is why Korea and its partner countries share a common bond of sympathy.
Lack of healthcare services and poor sanitation are two major issues for countries that suffer from extreme poverty. It was no different in Guarayos, Bolivia. The Korean government constructed much-needed water supply facilities within the region. The project was initially rejected by a different government 10 years ago after a feasibility study.
This project is extremely important for us to provide clean water to the citizens, especially young children. We use a lot cleaner water than we used to. Contaminated water has caused many common water-related diseases.
OECD says about 1 billion people around the world suffer from water shortages. Moreover, about 5 million children a year die for want of clear water. In that sense, the Korean government has been concentrating on ramping up the construction of additional water supply and healthcare facilities in the poorest countries. Education is another core element of Korea's ODA to offer development know-how. This is a jobs training academy located in Tashkent, the capital of Uzbekistan, and it is the only facility of this kind in the country. Fewer than 1 out of 4 applicants are accepted. Due to its popularity, local TV networks have come to film it.
What's best about the academy is that instructors provide courses tailored to each student's needs. I really enjoy learning Korean too.
In addition to the fact that it's free, a number of Korean experts in various fields, including machinery, electric, IT, and auto industry provide the job training support.
Unlike other donor nations that have invested in primary and higher education, Korea has been focusing on vocational training based on the success in the past to train industrial manpower through specific development plans according to the phases of industrialization.
And this library.
Besides the vocational training center, there is also a campus set up in Uzbekistan by a Korean university. Inha University in Tashkent is Korea's first university campus abroad.
This joint project is directed to prepare well-qualified specialists in the field of ICT, information communication technologies field.
새마을운동, a political initiative launched in 1970 by South Korean President Park Chung-hee to modernize the rural South Korean economy, is now exported abroad as it became a new ODA model. Rather than merely providing funding, diligence, self-help, and collaboration are the slogans to encourage the community members to participate in the development process. Developing countries across Asia and Africa now take part in the program to learn about Korea's 새마을운동.
Hello, how do you do?
The year 2009 bears a special significance to the history of Korea's ODA. Korea became the 24th member of the OECD Development Assistance Committee, or DAC. Korea is the first nation in history to rise from a recipient to a donor country.
I think it offers great opportunity for developing countries to learn Korea's experience in economic development. Our story will give them hope that they too can become an advanced country.
It has been 5 years since Korea joined the DAC. Let's take a look at how much Korean ODA has improved. Korea ranked 16th out of 28 DAC member states in terms of total ODA volume. Korea's ODA to GNI ratio, the indicator of the level of aid relative to the size of the economy, remains at 0.13%, which is well below the average of 0.3%. However, as the motivation and national interest of ODA is being promoted, Korea's ODA has a lot of growth potential. With foreign assistance as the country's foundation for growth, Korea has risen from ruins of war to a flourishing economy. Now it's time for Korea to become a beacon of hope for many developing countries that want to accomplish another miracle on the Han River. Teach a man to fish rather than simply giving him fish. KOICA's Young-mo Kim discusses how Korea contributes to the international community by transferring its development know-how to other countries. Korea's foreign assistance goes beyond Asia and over to Latin America. Yet challenges remain as Korea's official development assistance expands rapidly. Stick around. KOICA President Young-mo Kim is my guest. In this conversation, we discuss how KOICA has implemented numerous projects around the world over the past 24 years as Korea's main granted agency. President Kim, thank you so much for your time today.
So good to see you.
KOICA is celebrating its 24th anniversary this year. What are the major milestones in the history of KOICA?
I think there are a couple of important milestones in our history. First one I remember is that KOICA has reached $100 million as a budget in 2003, and also we have gone through more than 100 projects a few years later. And the most important milestone was made in year 2009. We were accepted. Korea was accepted as a official donor country at the Development Assistance Commission of OECD. And then 2013, we have surpassed 10,000 volunteers as an aggregate number. And then also we declared a smart management and smart Semaul Undong, new village movement throughout the world. That were the milestones from my point of view.
How does the international community perceive and assess KOICA's ODA activities?
Well, from our point of view, KOICA is still very small, modest organization, still learning organization, but I find the expectation is too high. Not only from recipient governments, but also international community like OECD, World Bank, our friends organization like USAID, DFID. They expect a lot from KOICA. Compared to our real capability, I think we are a little bit overestimated. But I think what we can do is really make a difference, because we put a lot of human capital, we put a lot of sincerity, and the experience of Korea's development from the poorest country in the world and one of the best developed and advanced country now itself is an inspiration to everyone. So we have a obligation to share this with others. That is what other governments and then international community expects. But at the same time, we must be frank with the dire assessment that KOICA lacks. This is that we are doing too little. You are doing a little bit in different and fragmented way, and we put too little investment in human, administrative capability and also professionalism. That we need to fill up from now on.
What are the main components of KOICA's activities?
We have three major components. One is integrated projects like constructing a hospital, training doctors, nurses, and bringing management system for hospital. These are stretching out from medical, agricultural development, ICT training. There are so many projects we have. Second component is education and training. We are inviting a lot of managers and government officials to Korea and somewhere else to go through training for technical training. This is one good part. The last part is the volunteer and experts we are dispatching to countries so that they can help each other over there.
Could you explain about the integrated projects?
Well, as I explained to you, there are hospital projects, there are medical healthcare system, but energy infrastructure, ICT training, communication, trading system, e-government. There are so many projects we are doing. Almost we are treating 100 different areas of projects. So you are allowed to think that KOICA has all the subjects you know in our social lives.
Right. So I can see that KOICA's assistance has a wide range. Where would you put most emphasis on?
Well, I think our first mission is to help eradicate poverty. So our Semal New Village movement is the best way, we believe, to eradicate poverty and then giving them ownership and then management capability so that they can develop themselves. Second one is environmental area. We can help people with water, sustainable environment, renewable energy, and green growth strategy in collaboration with the new technology we developed. Third one would be we help recipient government to realize their desired future projects, infrastructure projects like airport, big transportation system, a seaport, and dam, and wars against the water. This kind of future projects which they need investment, sizable investment. We cannot invest ourselves, but we need to teach them how to make investment happen. So we would like to make these projects bankable. This will be three major areas we would like to focus from now on.
What is next for KOICA then?
KOICA's next direction will be clearly joining in the international community as a mainstream. We have been on the periphery for a long time in our history. Now, in the area of official development assistance and helping other countries, we must take a center. Not a leading job, but I think we must not be sided out. So we will be joining the mainstream by improving our methodology, bringing more expertise, and then building up our capacity for measurement and making data and all kinds of scientific and technology approaches we must assemble so that we can be very proud, one, as global companies, famous global companies like Samsung, Hyundai. Korea's ODA must be also take the center stage. That is our goal.
President Kim, thank you so much for your precious time.
Thank you.
They say the more we share, the more we have. Korea's official development assistance is wide-ranging and diverse, reaching deep into local communities. We'll take you where the experience of development is shared at the grassroots level. Back in a moment. From 1945 to 1999,
Korea received $12.8 billion in foreign assistance. This assistance acted as a de facto catalyst for the country's development. And now, Korea wants to give back what it had received to the global community. What needs to be done for Korea to make its aid programs more effective? We'll find out.
Up to 50% of Korea's official development aid, or ODA, goes to Asia. But these days, Korea is providing aid to various regions, including Africa, the Middle East, and Latin America. In particular, ODA to Latin America has increased since the Korean government announced plans to help build the region's infrastructure. This is Cusco, once the capital of the Inca Empire, and you see a green landscape high in the Andes Mountains. But due to poor infrastructure, it's difficult to get medical services here. But now there are medical services specifically designed for residents living in the Andes region. It's the mobile clinic provided by the Korea International Cooperation Agency in 2014.
I just found out my baby is a boy. I am so happy. They say he's healthy too.
Inside the clinic, there are not only pediatrics, internal medicine, and surgery, but also equipments for maternity treatment. The mobile clinic travels around this remote area periodically and provides various medical services.
We need to continue supporting these kinds of projects. There are still many remote places in Cusco, such as Chumbivilcas, Paruro, Canas, and Canchas. They are difficult to reach.
Medical services that took into consideration the area's geological characteristics are now coming to fruition.
It's an innovative project, and I think that that's very important. But innovation for what? Innovation for inclusion, to reduce disparities.
In Latin America, you see more development cooperation rather than simple development aid. Bolivia's Santa Cruz New Urban Development Project is one example. Santa Cruz is struggling from a lack of housing due to rapid population growth and urbanization. And the Korean government and the Korea Land and Housing Corporation is working with the Santa Cruz city to provide more housing.
Population is increasing rapidly, and this has led to various problems. We started working with the Korea Land and Housing Corporation thanks to KOICA, and we hope to learn from Korea's urbanization project.
Korea is passing on its unique urban development know-how to Bolivia, and this may provide an opportunity to Korean companies to expand their business into the region.
If the Korea Land and Housing Corporation can apply its urbanization strategy to Cusco City and succeed, it'll help Korean construction companies expand their business into Latin America.
There are also joint projects that aim to establish e-government and intelligent transportation systems in Latin America. ICT is an area of interest because of its low initial investment cost.
We propose them to help us in something that Korea excels, and that is technology, basically information technology, to manage to produce the large databases of artifacts and sites.
Latin America, an emerging market with enormous potential, is drawing interest across the world. But of course, Korean companies should not approach the region just for the sake of making profits. A win-win strategy is needed.
In the past, countries gave aid to other countries out of some sense of obligation to help those less able. Today, there's still some of that, but I think there's a lot more common interests. We're moving to a period of collaboration.
This is the G20 Seoul Summit that was held in Seoul in 2010. The main agenda of the summit was narrowing the development gap and reducing poverty in less developed nations. And international cooperation was emphasized. And now, cooperation and coexistence have become the main topic in the global community.
Korea is considered as a partner to advanced companies and a role model to other developing nations. This will equip Korea with more political and diplomatic opportunities, which will contribute to Korea's national interests in the long run.
And the Korean government is planning to provide more official development assistance. In 2015, Korea's ODA budget is 23 billion won. In terms of the rate of increase in ODA amount between 2010 to 2015, Korea ranked first among Development Assistance Committee member countries. But in order to make full use of the assistance aid, there are problems to solve. Experts point out that aid segmentation is the biggest problem.
The level of aid segmentation is very serious in Korea. Korea provides 2.4 trillion won as assistance aid, so the size itself is not big. But up to 40 government departments, local authorities, and research centers compete with one another to provide aid, so coordination has become a problem.
Currently, KOICA provides grant aid while the Export-Import Bank of Korea provides assistance loans. Other organizations, local authorities, and NGOs provide foreign aid. Second, public support and changes in public perception is important. More development assistance can be provided only when there is a public consensus on the need to give development aid. To that end, increasing transparency will be key because aid is run by taxpayers' money. Aid transparency was discussed as a key issue at the 4th High-Level Forum on Aid Effectiveness that was held in Busan in 2011. And the Korean government has agreed to join the 2015 International Aid Transparency Initiative.
If you make development assistance aid information public, there will be less government corruption and development aid will be run more effectively.
As natural disasters like the Nepal earthquake happen more frequently, some people point out that more detailed emergency aid plans are necessary.
The need for emergency aid will increase due to global warming and more frequent natural disasters. We need to set aside emergency development aid and make preparations in advance.
Korea is the first recipient turned donor country. Now is the time to take more responsibility that lives up to its economic power and help other nations.
And that'll do it. Thank you all for watching this edition of Korea Report. We'll see you later.